It was our final day with the community that it became clear to me the significance of what it is that we had done that week. Specifically, Javier, who's Kirk and Patsy's son-in-law, their daughter Shannon lives in Ecuador, and he was the past president of this community. And so the final day, after having worked the first half of the day, there was a celebration. It was an incredible moment, opportunity to not just witness, but to actually be part of their celebration in this community. And during that time, they had this speaker set up, and they had a microphone, and there were probably close to 100 people there. They were all asked to participate in some way to make this dream of having a community center a reality. And before the celebrations began, the Javier spoke, and I really wish I would have had a video of it. It was incredible how he was speaking in Spanish, but yet as he was speaking, it was incredibly moving. He spoke with such, like, he's kind of a quiet guy, but in this moment he carried so much weight in what he was saying. And anyway, he was speaking and he was getting more and more into it, and it was very moving, and everyone was quiet and listening. And then when he was done, they responded with applauding. And then Shannon interpreted what he said, and I don't have it recorded, and I don't remember it word for word, but essentially it was something along the lines of, this has been a lot of work, this has been a lot of effort, and to get to this point is a big deal. He also communicated how when he was a kid and all the other people were kids, they didn't have somewhere to play, and that's going to change now. It put in perspective the significance of what it is that everyone had participated in. Everyone that's in that community had participated in some way, had put in some effort, and specifically our church had put in. Whether it was the 11 people there or all the people that have given in the past to make this a reality. So that was really special. And again, as I said, that's when it hit me, the significance of what it is that we did there. So as the day ended, we had a chance to play soccer. And it's interesting how just a simple soccer game can mean so much. So why is a wall and fence necessary? To understand that, I'm really thankful that we were able to have a drone there so you can see the topographical layout of the area that we were in. There's these incredible mountains that shoot up 15, 18, 19,000 feet. And then as you look, wherever there's flat land, these plateaus, typically on either side there's these major ravines that just drop down hundreds of feet. And so, yeah, there's some flat land, but the issue is specifically playing with a sport with a ball. Once you kick the ball or throw the ball or whatever, and it goes anywhere near the side, it's going to be gone. So the wall becomes essential, or the fence becomes essential for kids to be able to play. And so in Ecuador, or specifically in Cotacachi, the town that we were in, to build this wall required a lot of effort. There was no cement truck that came with the cement all mixed, and you just kind of pour it and let it sit, and that's it. Instead, everything had to be done by hand. So it required using sand and gravel and bags of cement, and pouring water on that, mixing it by hand, putting that in wheelbarrows, and then taking it to where it needs to go and either dumping it or putting it in buckets so it can be raised up to fill forms. All of that just required a lot of effort. In addition, the rebar was to make for the foundation. Rebar was used where there would be 4 bars of rebar, and then by hand they would bend these square pieces of rebar, and then using wire and a piece of rebar that was shaped as a little tool, we would take the wire and tie the square pieces to the long pieces, and that took a lot of effort. And then after the foundation was poured, then there would be bricks that would go on top of that. And then you would have to move bricks because there was initially just one pile of bricks. And obviously those bricks had to go all around the field, the soccer field. So there were lots of times where we would form a line and just one brick after another. By the way, these aren't just little bricks, these are large bricks. And we would just be moving piles of bricks. Then someone would have to mix, now it's not cement, but now it's mixing mortar. Again, it's sand and a finer type of sand and cement mixed with that. Sometimes that would be done down in the road. And for cones, they would just set bricks up in the road so that, I guess, cars would see the bricks set up in the road and go around you. And I'm not really naming anybody doing certain jobs because we all did all the different jobs. I think everybody tied the rebar, everybody moved bricks, everybody carried cement, everybody helped with mortar. It was just amazing seeing everyone participate along with the locals that lived there in building this wall. So in addition to building the wall, there were other activities occurring as well. Deborah spent her time working with the women in the kitchen. Every day they provided lunch for us. And the amount of work that they put in, the amount of work and effort that they put into preparing lunch was unbelievable. Some meals were better than others. That's just because maybe there's some things we're not used to eating, but the amount of effort and care and love that they put into preparing the meals for us was, again, just something that I've never seen before. And I know Deborah made great connections with those women as she worked in there. The other thing that was going on was we had a veterinarian and a physician's assistant with us. So that was Laura and Jalen. And Jalen was able to look at some of the kids that were dealing with illness and help them with different things that they were dealing with. Unfortunately, she probably spent more time at the end trying to doctor us up to get us home, because we started dropping like flies with different illnesses, specifically me. I'm thankful for her to be there and to have different medicines and to be able to help us. I also know that she got to visit the local hospital and was coming up with some ideas for the future in which she can continue to serve there, so that's exciting. And then Laura got to visit a veterinarian, and then the following day she was part of a crew that, okay, so let me back up for a second. One thing that's very unusual about Ecuador, or it's unusual to me, is that there are just stray dogs all throughout the streets, and they seem friendly and they just kind of walk around, but there's a lot of them. And so what this veterinarian or this clinic was focused on is spade and neutering these dogs to try to keep the population down. So she spent a day working with a crew. There were some students, some veterinarian students from Canada there, along with some people that work there. So she was able to be part of that group and again, just make a difference in that way. So that was exciting for her. And I know that she's also, like Jalen, looking forward to the future and trying to figure out how to best serve the community. And then lastly, what else was going on was there's supposed to be a kids program from 3 to 5, but it ended up being, for many kids, an all-day event hanging out with Eliana. She did a fabulous job spending time with the kids. And again, I was kind of under the impression, like, you know, is this of any value? Like, what's going on? And I got a chance to talk with Shannon, and this became more clear to me again the longer I was there. But she said that, you know, the kids being able to do these different activities it will be the highlight of their summer. Again. For their summer break, since they're not going to school, they would have to spend the time with their parents, whether that's in the field working or out the house working or with different livestock. Basically, their summer break isn't what our summer break would be like. So for them to have a week of playing and getting different gifts was, like she said, it's something that they'll remember probably their whole life. So that was just humbling to hear that. And Kirk described it as kind of like by the end, a Pied Piper situation where Eliana would kind of walk around and there'd be a group of little kids following her everywhere. It was really sweet to see. The one thing that, in addition to Eliana working with the kids, when it did come to 3 to 5, parents would bring other children there, and at that point, Patsy and Heather and Jalen and Lisa and Laura, they would kind of stop what they were doing and help Eliana, and there would be just a big group of people kind of doing different games and activities, and it was really neat to see. On Friday, it was decided that we would give the kids that had been coming the gift bags that you guys prepared. It was brilliant of Becca to think of that and to see how excited the kids were to get these bags that you guys prepared. I just wish you could. Show me what you got. What's in there? By the end of the week, there were so many kids coming that we were actually one bag short. We were one bag short, so thankfully Eliana had some backpacks that she had brought too, and or someone had brought. I saw that this girl was just devastated not getting a bag, so she quickly put some gifts together and was able to give her a backpack, so that she didn't go away sad. So that was exciting. The days started to have a pattern to them. We would get up early. Walk across the street to a little cafe, have breakfast there. Some sweet women just working hard. We would do a devotion, and then we would take a taxi ride out of the city to where the community is located. And once we would get there, as the week went on, and working side by side with some of the same people, the relationship started to grow, and that was a neat part of the experience as well. And so when we would get there, they would be excited to see us, we'd be excited to see them. We would do our devotions together there as well, and then we would work hard the beginning of the day, again typically building the wall. And then at lunch, one of the highlights was near the end of the week, they had asked us to pray for the meal. So that was a special thing to be able to pray together. So then we would take the taxis home at the end, get cleaned up, and then walk to a restaurant that Shannon would have reservations for us, eat together, typically walk back home and go to bed because we would be tired. It was a lot of work. But again, that final day is when it made it all worth it.